Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christopher Fletcher, and I wanted to present some of the findings that we've gathered through the survey of our attendees over the last few years. The purpose of this survey was to determine the satisfaction level of our guests using three different metrics. We wanted to first see how satisfied our clients were with the services and amenities we do offer, and we wanted to see which hotel amenities did they use during their conference stays, and lastly, we wanted to see how likely our conference attendees were to contribute to future business. This was sent out online to 534 convention attendees who participated in the 3 or 4 day conferences between January and December of 2019. And we received 44% participation on this survey, receiving responses from 236 of the 534 that it was sent to. When it comes to the findings from our survey, at least when it comes to usage, we did notice that the utilization rate of guest services and amenities tends to vary greatly depending on gender as well as income levels. But our most utilized amenity was the Prestigia restaurant, coming in at 53% usage, and the least utilized were the spa and the golf course, coming in at 19 and 8% respectively. The restaurant's higher utilization rate could be contributed to the conference time constraints. And then we also asked guests about the satisfaction of these different services and amenities, and we set our goal to 85% satisfaction rate for the conference meals, meeting rooms, and staff and service categories. The 85% satisfaction rate would have raised us to the elite status among our competitors. However, we had a shortfall of 9% to 16% in these three categories. 75% satisfaction would be considered acceptable performance in the areas of concern, and we met that in a few, but not all. We did notice, though, that guests are extremely unhappy with the internet pricing as well as the business center. We had nearly a third of all attendees that responded to the survey say that they were not satisfied with these. So this is definitely something we can work on in the future. We also wanted to measure the overall satisfaction as well as future intentions among our conference attendees. So we set our goal to an overall satisfaction rating of 90%, and our willingness to recommend goal was set at 65%. We did have a shortfall in both of these categories of 6 and 8% respectively. However, it was highly variable based on gender and income. Some of the differences we saw in gender and income in the previous two metrics were women and higher income guests are less satisfied, less willing to return, and less willing to recommend us. The conference meal satisfaction was the most variable based on gender and income. And amenity usage shows that more men preferred comedy club and golf course amenities, while more women preferred the use of the restaurants and the spa. The usage in general was very much dependent on income levels. Looking back at historic numbers for these metrics, we've noticed that there was a 3-year decline in overall satisfaction and likeliness to recommend us. However, they've nearly recovered in the last 2 years, and the desire to return by attendees has remained relatively stable over the last 5 years. Our recommendations for the future are to examine ways to raise satisfaction levels among women and higher income guests. We could do this by creating focus groups to better understand their concerns and suggestions, and we could also informally speak with these populations and catalog feedback in a lessons learned database. I feel as though informally speaking with them would probably have a higher participation rate than our surveys. We do need to look at adapting our marketing techniques to meet the needs of our lower satisfied guests. These target groups could be made up of the women and the higher income earners to figure out how to market to them best and increase their satisfaction with our services. When it comes to our customer service initiatives, I think we need to continue exactly what we're doing. Our high staff to guest ratio, offering incentives for exceptional guest service, and our 2-month mentoring program for new attendants seems to have paid off, as we see that 3-year decline nearly correcting itself in the last 2 years. We also need to take an in-depth look at our catering service. As a few years ago, we did alter those catering services trying to cut some cost, but this does need to be reevaluated as we see it having a major effect on our attendee satisfaction.